Welcome to the Habitat demos for Friday, March 3rd. We've got a couple things to show today. Why don't we start off with Matt?
All right, so couple things. Mainly, we made some changes to our depot. So historically, our depot has been capable of handling basically a single target, or a platform, which we call target, and that's currently or has been configured to Linux targets. And so when you try to upload or download packages, it will also it'll validate the target that's attempting to upload or download against the supported target, of which there's been a single supported target of Linux. And so if you're trying to upload Windows or download Windows, you have problems. And in the past couple of weeks, the demos that I've been doing, I've made a small hack to my HAB.exe that kind of works around that. So what we did in this release was we added the ability for the depot to have an understanding of multiple targets. So it still has a concept of a supported target, but it's actually plural now. So it's now basically a vector of supported targets, and that's configured by default to be Linux and Windows. Now, that hasn't been turned on our public depot. We do have a private depot that we're working with that I'm going to show you now, that is currently running basically against the released depot code. So let me share my screen, and let's see. So what I have done, actually, okay, here's a depot, depot.Stephen Morosky, who we all know and love, on the Habitat team, and he has put together this depot. So I went in this week, and basically I flushed out the depot, put in the new master code, the release bits, and then repopulated the depot. And one thing that you'll notice here, so most of these packages are Windows packages, almost all of them, but for the sake of demonstrating, here's a package right here that has both a Linux and a Windows. Now, we haven't yet changed the view to make it easily discoverable that this is Linux and Windows. Obviously, it's not clear. If you were to if we go into the details, you can see that. So it's not totally hidden, but it's not very friendly. But at any rate, we can see here that the 2016-09-14 is Linux, and the other one, the 2017 one, is Windows. And so I've got both a Linux and a Windows HAB client. So here I am, I'm SSH'd to a Linux machine that doesn't have the CA certs. I deleted it both in the artifacts and its packages, so it's clean. And I'm going to now download it, pointing it to this depot, and I'm going to expect the 2016 one. That's exactly what I get. And then if I go to, here's a Windows, I'm remoted into a Windows box. Same thing, this package doesn't exist on this box. And here I get the 2017 one. So it's able to tell, right now what we do is it gets it basically from the agent string headers, and it's able to resolve the correct package. One other small change that we made too was you can now run supervisor commands on Windows. So here I can just do a HAB start, and we can see it running on Windows. Whereas before, it would have stopped you from doing that. And like I said earlier, I had a hacked version of HAB that got around that. So now the nice thing is actually on our released HAB package, if you're pointing to a depot that has actual Windows packages on it and has the master or the released depot code on it, you actually do have a fully functioning Windows HAB client. And we'll be working in the next couple releases to get that that depot code into our public depot, and getting all the data migrated. And so hopefully soon we'll be able to make the Windows functionality more widely available. That's what I got.
Oh man, it's great to see that. Like Matt was saying, is one of the last blockers before we can open up to a smaller set of people using Windows support, giving us some feedback. As soon as we have that out in the public, we can start getting some people in there and use it. All right, how about Salim?
Sure. So I'm going to demo a little bit more progress that we made on our builder service. And just to give context, the builder service is going to be responsible for keeping all the packages on the depot up to date. So when there's a new package that comes in, all the packages that depend upon it will get automatically built. So what I'm going to show is part of this. It is a new service called the scheduler service. It's going to be responsible for talking to another service we have, the job server service, and triggering builds that need to be done. For this demo, it's just basically one package. We just show it communicating with the job server and building that package. So let's give it a shot. Here we go. Okay, so what I have here in the top window is basically our all our services running in this window, and you can see the output. I'm just going to show what that output looks like as we progress on with the demo. So the first thing in the bottom left window, I'm just going to click off a couple of preliminary things, and you can see there's some output flowing in the top. And so that's basically created a core ID for me. The next thing is I need to create, I'm going to basically show Nginx being built. So I'm going to create a project for Nginx, and that's happened. And now the main thing, which is the demo, is this part, which is basically I'm going to post through the our Depot API a schedule command, and that's going to go to the scheduler service. So once I kick off the command, you'll see some output from the scheduler service that I'll kind of walk through. So here you can see the scheduler service received the command from the Depot API and has created a job here. And if I scroll down, you can see that. But before that, so it received, there's some output here showing it received the message, gets that project we created, and then it basically talks to the job server here, sends a message to the job server. You can see this output in red here. It's maybe a little hard to see, but our job server received this message. And then down here, the job server communicates with the worker service that actually does the builds. And you can see the worker service now has received a message to do the actual build. And some of this is still kind of a work in progress. So sometimes we don't fully have this go through. But and so it looks like it's currently, actually it is building. It's building right now. You can see it's got a studio and it's building a studio. And now you can see that the build is complete. At least status 0 here, and you can see that the job server then also gets the status back in terms of what happened to that job. So you can see that the state here is complete. So that is the demo, and yeah, that's progress from last time.
Just one step further to finally having the upside down builds done, you know?
Yep.
So what this is, like Salim said, going to enable us to do is when we patch or release a new version of a package that's something that you depend on, like say zlib or glibc, really long down the chain, it'll cause the world to rebuild as in parallel as possible, and then eventually notify you that your software needs to be rebuilt. And our hope is that you'll come in the morning and your acceptance environment will just be updated, and it'll tell you what security vulnerability was patched. And then you can just look at it, test it, and then promote that to your union environment or your live environment. And that's the goal there. All right, Stephen.
All right, let's get the screen sharing going here. All right, so I'm going to show off a little bit of the Each Alive helper. And so what that was is we added a helper to all the config files and the hooks that you can generate in a package. And before, you used to have to do this little trick where, let's get a little bit bigger. Yeah. Oh, not that big. Where you'd have to like throw in another like if alive, and then close off that if at the end if you wanted to get just the alive members when you're doing something. Well, now we have this Each Alive helper, and to show that it works, I've got a couple of different nodes. I catted out that config file that we're templating here. This is just a test package that only really does this. It's got a bash script that sleeps. And so when I added a second member, it added, I should probably say, I've got 4 different blocks here. One's going to show us all the members using each. So as things are alive or dead, and it'll tell us if they're alive or dead. The alive members using Each Alive. So we should only see members that are actually running and part of the ring. And then we have the same behavior with bound members. So all the bound members and then all the alive bound members. And so when everything's running, I had 2 nodes, then I had 3 nodes. Now I have 4, so we should see 4 nodes in each of these things. It's kind of laggy with Docker on Windows, but we should see this here shortly. There we go. So now we have 4 nodes. Let's kill some nodes. So we have Docker. So let's kill Docker RM test. So we have 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, 3, and 4 are all part of this thing. So let's kill 3. And see what happened. So clear out. Oh, and you may be wondering about the command and how I'm executing to connect to these things. This here. So all members, we've got 4, the census sees 4 members. 1 is not alive. The Each Alive helper only gives us the alive members in service.members. And then our binding, same behavior. We have all the bound members with showing 1 dead, and the Each Alive helper gives us just the alive members back. Now you may be wondering about the tool that I'm using to run and execute this. I had a little side project, and so there's now a Habitat Provisioner for Test Kitchen. And let's see here, what's up? Man, this is slow today. Right now it's driving the Docker, Kitchen Docker driver, and I have a little kitchen YAML that sets all this up. and it'll upload local artifacts, pull from depots. You can point it to different depots. It's pretty early on, but it's been handy for testing some supervisor scenarios. And that's what I got.
Oh, that's a neat test kitchen driver, man. Did you put that up anywhere?
I just did. It's up on GitHub in the test kitchen org, and there's a gem published to Ruby Gems.
Hell yeah.
I linked it up in general a little while ago.
All right. All right. Well, that's one of the latest additions to the templating language that we have. You can use that in any of the configs or the hooks, and they're easy to add if there's something that you're involved. You're interested in getting involved in the project, and you want to make some improvements there. That's probably one of the easy places to start. That's it for the demos today. Thanks everyone for watching. We'll see you later.